Hey.
And one, but Thompson, man, he just playing to his strengths and his size, his ball handling ability. He has a lot of gifts that you can't teach.
Alright Joel, today's video we are tackling Thompson. I've been wanting to do a video on him for a while. I've been waiting for him to have a good stretch of games and he's finally gone and done it. Now to remind some of the newer people to this channel, I don't really dig that much into NBA prospects and I don't really go through the tape or do much scouting. I kind of just, watch here and there leading up to the couple weeks before the draft. But the Thompson twins definitely caught my eye because they are just physical specimens that are insanely gifted athletically, and you can just tell by watching a little bit of tape that they have a really good basketball feel. Now it was also evident that they're not going to be superstars of any kind anytime soon, but again they just seem like really fun additions to whatever team got them. In Thompson's case, the Houston Rockets. And he got off to an especially slow start because of a long-term ankle injury. He then had a sickness that he was dealing with. But he finally got back and healthy. He got added to the starting lineup when Fred VanVleet also went down with an injury. He went on to then start 5 games in a row, and he went back to the bench in their first game after the All-Star break. But during those last 6 games, Thompson has been doing a good job on the basketball court. He's averaging almost 14 points, over 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, over a block per game, and doing all that on 61% shooting from the field. And specifically in this first game after the All-Star break versus the Pelicans, it was just a really rough game in general for the Houston Rockets, but Thompson was the best player on the court for them throughout the entire 48 minutes. Now again, not saying much considering pretty much everyone had a bad game, but he did post a career high 22 points. He was getting to the rim, he was rebounding the ball, he was getting out in transition, he was doing all the things that you'd hope to see from Thompson at this point in the season. And the thing that popped most to me was definitely his play in transition. I think this was the big thing that was, noticeable to pretty much everyone, especially during the draft cycle. This was his big plus, his big addition to whatever team was going to get him. If you get him out into the open court, give him the ball and just let him do whatever, freestyle, get to the rim, set up his teammates, he is awesome in transition. Again, he's able to use that crazy athleticism to go and make plays and get buckets. The play from this game that got me most excited was this and one spin layup in transition, where again the athleticism is just on full display. And even though there continues to be a lot of growing pains for Thompson, I want to see more plays like this one where he uses that rebounding to his advantage, grabs a defensive rebound and just immediately pushes it up the court. On this play here, this example, he could tell he was a bit hesitant on actually taking the floater at the rim, but I'm hoping that this is a shot and just method of play that he can continue to knock down, because again, this is where you're going to get the best of Thompson. Now on the contrary, when it comes to half-court offense and the Rockets get stopped and they actually have to set something up and run a play, this is where he becomes a bit more questionable on the offensive side of the ball, because he's great when he has the ball in his hands and he's able to run a pick and roll and attack the rim and dump off the teammates or kick out. Again, he uses that athleticism to his advantage when he is around the rim. He is great at finishing. He can finish in a lot of wide variety of ways. He can go up and under, he can dunk, he has a really good verticality. But the obvious hole in his game right now, and something that has been brought up even on national media scale, is that he just cannot really shoot the ball that well. There is one specific play from this game where Herb Jones was giving him the Ben Simmons treatment, and it completely just messed up the entire offensive possession for the Rockets, because they had Thompson running point and Herb Jones was quite literally just sitting with his heels on the free throw line, and the Rockets just weren't able to run any play, and it led to a terrible shot. Now, I don't want to take that Ben Simmons comparison too literally, because Thompson is at least willing to take outside shots. He doesn't take a ton, but he's shooting 17% from 3, takes about 1 3 a game, and he will knock him down every now and then. His jump shot doesn't look terrible. It's something that I would hope that he is able to improve on. But for now, you can tell that it is affecting how he plays, because when he doesn't have the ball in his hands and he is resorted to being a spot-up shooter in the corner, on the wing, you can tell that he doesn't really want to shoot the ball, because he'll start creeping in as soon as his teammate drives to the rim, and instead of actually spotting up behind the 3-point line, he'll creep into that deep 2 range, just waiting to make a cut. Even if he gets swung the ball, it usually just leads to him making another drive to the rim, and it's kind of a mess right now. Now, what isn't a mess is his play on the defensive side of the ball. This is probably, in my opinion, his strongest area outside of, again, those few plays we get of him and transition every night. And the beauty of Thompson on the defense side of the ball is that he can slide with guards out on the perimeter. He can stick with, larger wings down low. Can't really task him with guarding bigs just because he's not quite big enough to do that yet, but he can also go vertical. He has some solid rim protection chops. He had one play in this game against the Pelicans where he was able to draw an offensive foul just by going up vertically on Larry Nance. But again, it all leads back to that great athleticism that he has. Had another specific play where he had a kind of a late closeout on a CJ McCollum 3, but he was still able to get a piece of it. And it's just the plays like that on the defensive side of the ball that make him such a special player, because there's only a handful of guys in the entire NBA that can make a play even anywhere close to that. And so despite the fact that I still remain very high on Thompson as a player for the future, I do want to make it clear that he still has a ways to go. He is still a very raw talent. But at the same time, it's very encouraging to see games like this where even if the Houston Rockets as a team are playing a really terrible game of basketball, Thompson can still shine and show you that he has a bright future ahead of him. It's just going to take a little bit of time for him to get to that point. And I've personally been seeing a lot of people on Houston Rockets Twitter calling for Thompson to start getting starts again and to stay in the starting lineup. And unfortunately, at least for the rest of the season, unless there's another injury to Fred VanVleet or Jalen Green, I just don't really see it happening. Maybe if he continues to play extremely well and Jalen Green goes back to being in a slump, I could see them maybe switching those two out. But Fred VanVleet just got a bag. He is the on-court leader for this team offensively. I doubt they're going to take him out of the starting lineup anytime soon. Although I would be intrigued if they were to run Amen at a wing spot and just kind of use him like the Pistons use Asar Thompson, where he's doesn't always have the ball in his hands and he is just sticking primarily to the dunker spot on offense and just trying his best to just move the ball and make good passes. I don't know, I'm kind of just spitballing there. It's probably a terrible idea. I assume Ime Udoka knows more than I do. Just throwing it out there. Regardless, I have seen enough flashes for myself to fully believe in Thompson being a great player down the line. I will continue to keep tabs on him for the rest of the season, even though, again, the Rockets have been playing some terrible basketball recently. Because, again, as I said near the top of the video, I don't think he's going to be any sort of a superstar. But in terms of guys who are just winning basketball players, I could certainly see him hitting that, top elite role player type tier, or maybe even getting a few all-star nods down the line, because he's just a really special, unique player, him and his brother included. But for now, it is Thompson who is finally turning the corner. That's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoy, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of those good things, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.